Welcome to Actualol, I'm Jon Purkis. Today I'm talking about the best games I played last month so you can see if they're right for you. If you want to buy any of them, there are links in the description below. And to learn about other games I've played lately, get my monthly newsletter by signing up to my Patreon. Magic Maze on Mars is the sort of self-explanatory title that will put professional explainers like myself out of business. It tells you all you need to know, like Clank in Space or Herbie Goes Bananas. But for those of you who have been living under a Dwayne Johnson, Magic Maze was and is a groundbreaking cooperative game that forced real collaboration between players. They were tasked to move characters around a shopping mall, but with each player in charge of a direction of movement, completing their mission against a timer, and to top it off, they couldn't talk to each other. In the world of board games, setting a game in space is the equivalent of saying on steroids. It's only a matter of time before they announce Moonhaven. But to be fair, playing Magic Maze on Mars is almost as thrilling as playing Magic Maze on Mars. Our job this time is to control some helpful robots who are working hard to build biodomes on Mars so that humans can have a well-earned second chance at killing another planet. We have to produce the right resources to explore the planet and build the biodomes. Then once we're finished, transport the human to their new home. The logistical hiccup is that you're each assigned 2 colors and only you can produce those color resources. And only you can transport things along those color tracks. Just like Magic Maze, the workload is divided in a way that means you have to all be switched on and in sync at all times. To get something across the map, I'll move it along green, then someone else moves it along orange, then another player red, and then I'm back in on blue, and so on. It has the same core feeling as before, but with a pleasant change. It's a little easier to understand. The board is clearer, so when you don't spot something, you have no one to blame but yourself. And because there are 6 colors to share between the players, it scales better. At 3 players, you each have 2 colors. At 4, you share a color with another player, but still have one of your own. At 5, you have 1 unique color each and all share blue. It's important because you need those moments of the whole game stopping as you all wait on the one player to realize what they need to do. That's classic Magic Maze. This is big for me because I pretty much refused to play the original Magic Maze with anything other than 4 players because it wasn't fun sharing your entire in-game responsibility with another person. There's still the satanic do something pawn which you can place in front of your teammate to draw attention to their ineptitude and ultimately solve nothing. How someone uses the do something pawn is the ultimate reveal of their true personality. And it turns out there are a lot of psychopaths in the London board game scene. But now you can place the do something pawn on this dashboard to show what you're angry about, which as a Magic Maze purist feels like cheating, so I've neglected to tell my friends that it exists. Like the original, they do a brilliant job of easing you into the rules by breaking it down into scenarios. They start off short and easy to complete so the tutorial doesn't outstay its welcome and you're soon into the meat of the game without any stress. Once you've cracked the basic scenario, there's plenty of difficulty you can add in. The map of Mars gets a lot bigger, which makes for a lot more racing around trying to get to sand timer spots before you run out of time. And there's new elements to reckon with. These trash pawns turn up with every new black tile added to the map, and they multiply like crazy because each time you draw a trash tile, every existing trash tile spawns a new one. They do nothing of value, only serving to get in your way, just like your teammates. Each location can only hold one thing, so if a trash is on the spot you need to get a resource to, you need to move the trash out of the way. When it gets busy, it becomes like one of those sliding puzzle games where you have to move everything just to move the one thing where you want it. The next level adds more trash, but also these pink space slugs which eat trash. The trouble is, they also get in the way, and to get them to move, you had to lure them away with trash, or resources. You suddenly become a space traffic control person, as if you didn't have enough going on. Beyond that, you've got one-way only transport links, and the game becomes impossible, which is great because that means it's got mileage. Magic Maze 2 Robots Revenge is a polished sequel. The production of the game is a lot slicker than the original, which always felt a little cheaper than the brilliant game deserved, and the theme makes more sense for the gameplay this time round. The core reasons to love that Magic Maze experience are still there and as fun as ever. It can be hard to remember because I've seen it all before, but the other day I played Magic Mars with someone who was new to the Magic Maze ludological universe, and she had the same reaction I had when I was a naive young boy playing Magic Maze for the first time back in 2016. If I was trying to get newbies into Magic Maze now, I would recommend the Magic Maze on Mars. It's got everything that's great about the original, and makes for a smoother ride, so for that reason, it deserves a seal of actual love. When you play QE, it feels like you're being studied for a psychological experiment. It's an auction game where you can bid any amount of money you like, And what happens is you get carried away with your spending, and it feels very much like you're failing the psychological experiment. The trick to winning the game is to fail it slightly less than one of your opponents. You each play as a global superpower, or the UK, and you have a license to print money, which is the slogan of James Bond's older brother, Investment Bond. With that money, you'll bid on companies that get auctioned each turn. One player is the auctioneer, and they reveal what's up for grabs. Let's say it's a Japanese agriculture firm. The auctioneer makes the starting bid, writing any amount of money on their whiteboard and showing the group. If the other players want it, and believe me, you always want it, they'll write a bid on their whiteboard in secret. Yeah, nothing quite raises the blood pressure and the spending like the unknown. You only get one chance to bid. If you bid too low, you'll get nothing. Except you've got no frame of reference of what too low is. Each country hands their secret bid to the auctioneer, who takes a look and announces a winner, but not the winning amount. Only they will know what everyone bid. They write the winning amount underneath the prize and give it to the winner. At the end of the game, you'll flip them over and reveal how much everyone spent. The bids will creep up and up as the losing bidders become more and more desperate to score some points, and the winners know they'll have to up their bids to compete. It makes you feel like you're going mad as you keep raising your bid to ridiculous heights and find yourself still getting outbid. There's a fever to it. More than once, I've seen players just laughing at the experience. The crucial, important reason you don't want to overspend for everything is because at the end of the game, the player who recklessly spent the most money is eliminated from the game. They can't win. And so it's okay to get caught up in this arms race of bidding so long as you know when to stop. You won't win the game by being cautious, you'll win it by going along for the ride, getting everyone amped up, then taking a sharp left turn before the others drive off the cliff. Every tile is worth points, but there's a big advantage to winning sets of matching industries, or a diverse mix of all different types. You're each given a starting industry that is just enough to make you want some tiles really badly, and there's a bonus for securing tiles of your nationality. The game does a brilliant job of making you feel like you need to win auctions, and when you feel like you need to win, any semblance of chill you had goes out the window. As a counterbalance, you can score a 2-point bonus each round for bidding 0. You put yourself out of the running for that auction, but 2 points is often worth it. Of course, you never know when someone else is about to bid 0, so the pressure of their rivalry still looms. The feeling of bidding in the dark is what makes this game special. Only when it's your turn to play auctioneer do you get a glimpse into where the other players' heads are at. Previous experience of the game won't help because the pace is set by who you're playing with each time. And that means the game is susceptible to being thrown off by a rogue player. If someone's bidding is so erratic and reckless that it becomes clear they will have spent the most, it kills the jeopardy for the other players. But it's often a risk with auction games that the balance is thrown off by a player, and it's worth it for when the game does sing. QE is great at delivering a big finish because the reveal of how much money everyone has spent is so exciting. You have an idea, but you don't know for sure who will be out of the running, and there's also a close race for spending the least, which pays out a massive 6 points, so you can still win the game with only a couple of tiles. One of the things I look for in games is when they deliver an experience or feeling with such a clean, minimal set of rules. It's not impressive to have a 20-page rulebook. It's impressive to have 2 pages and still be rich and entertaining. QE is an excellent game and one I'm glad to have in my collection. Jetpack Joyride is a real-time puzzle game inspired by the popular mobile game. It plays like a 2D platformer. Your character is running through the levels trying to avoid obstacles and collect points. You create your path through the game by placing these orange Tetris shapes. So the puzzle is in finding the right combination of awkward shapes that will get you where you want to go. You're grabbing from a shared pile, so be prepared for the other players to have used all the good shapes just when you need one. It's so easy to get lost in the puzzle, swapping out pieces until you finally find the one that scores you that hard to reach coin. But the game will not reward your perfectionism because the clock is ticking. You need to finish the level as fast as possible because once one player is finished, everyone else has to stop. And that often means looking up from your half-completed board that you thought you were doing so well with, wondering if you experience time at a faster rate than everyone else. It's nice that the pace is set by the players because if you're all the same age, it feels fair. I made the mistake of demoing this game at a convention with someone half my age, and I left with half the points of theirs, and half my dignity. Once you've played one round, you pass your level card to the left and face a new challenge. Now you've felt the shame of being too slow, it's tempting to rush it, but if you hit into any obstacles, you'll lose points. And there's no point in rushing through a level just to get to the end. You need to actually take a route that gets you points by picking up coins. The other thing to focus on is this round's missions. They're different each time and change the way you look at the level. This one wants you to hit your head against the ceiling of the level for 10 squares. This one wants you to run past the scientist on each level. Having 5 things to be aiming for at once means you'll never quite make that perfect run, even though it does feel possible. It's great how it pits your video gamer instinct to complete the level and get all the power-ups against your embarrassment of getting nothing because you took too long. There's a life lesson in there somewhere, but I'm too busy color coordinating my game library to spend any time with her. At the end of the round, you each get a power-up, with the player who scored the least getting first pick. The power-ups make life a bit easier by letting you ignore obstacles or give you a way to score even more points. The common problem with competitive real-time games is that 1 or 2 players will be naturally faster and, well, better. So you might have to stop inviting them if you ever want to win, or you can give them a handicap of these harder levels to even things up. When are Eurogames going to introduce handicaps so that I can win them too? Jetpack Joyride is straight up fun. You can set it up in a minute, the rules are simple, it comes in a modest box, and it's got enough variability that it's always ready to fox you with a different puzzle each time. Ninja Academy is a refreshing and original take on dexterity games that refuses to be held back by its tiny box size. 3 to 5 players are competing to be the best ninja by taking part in challenges. There are group challenges which involve all the players, and rounds of head-to-head duels where 2 players will face off. Each challenge is a different trial. There are 21 in the game, each explained on their trial card. They have you doing things like trying to empty a box of meeples using only a card quicker than your opponent, placing your meeples on the back of your hand and throwing them up and trying to catch them, and doing it as many times before the other player loses all of their meeples, balancing meeples on a card rested on a block, playing a game of Skittles trying to knock over blocks by throwing meeples at them. Most of them test your dexterity, but one has you guessing how many meeples are under the box lid by moving them around and listening. Another one involves bluffing and guessing which hand the meeple is in. It's the sort of game you can let yourself get really competitive with because it's so ridiculous, like a drinking game or thumb war. None of it matters, the rivalry is over in a minute, and it's even funnier when someone knocks over their tower if they've been trash talking you all game. During the head-to-head duels, they keep the game interesting for the other players by having you bet on the winner, so you've got someone to cheer on because you get a point if they win. My favourite group challenge is where you each put a meeple on the back of your hand, and you try to keep it there whilst moving the same hand to knock the other player's meeples off their hands. It's really hard, and it's funny when it comes down to 2 players left because you have to attack to win, but you know that any movement could cost you the win. Other ones include trying to flip a card over the quickest by blowing on it, and playing a mini-game of simultaneously pointing at a group of items to win it, but getting nothing if you point at the same thing as another player, which is basically the game Crossing, which, by the way, is great. Sure, this game is light and silly, and it's not the kind of thing I would play regularly because it would probably get old, but it's the perfect game for the end of night at a convention when your mind has gone to sleep and you want something silly to create some laughs. Ninja Academy is a great little package. I only wish it could handle more players than 5. It's staying on my shelf for the right moment because when you're in that right mood, there's nothing else like it. Those are my favourite games of the month. There are links in the description if you'd like to buy them. And to read about other games I've been playing which I don't talk about on the channel, sign up to get my monthly newsletter and support me making videos like this at patreon.com/Actualol. If you don't want to do any of that, then please subscribe. I'm Jon Purkis, thanks for watching.